everyone. Welcome to the fourth edition of Back at the Ranch, which is Expedition Online's after show. I'm your host, Danny Knaub, and I'm here with the latest explorer who was unfortunately sent packing the other night. Molly, welcome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Can't complain. Had a wonderful time, so I'm good.
Yeah. So this is an opportunity for you really to kind of share with the audience, with our fans, what was going on in your game, what you were thinking. So we're really looking forward to getting to know you a little bit more and asking you some questions. But, let's start really just going all the way back. So describe to me what it felt like when you found out that you were cast in the premiere edition of Expedition Online.
Oh my gosh, I was thrilled. I was so excited. And to be picked first for Team Rob out of the second batch of tapes, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so honored. But yeah, I was so excited. I knew that this was going to be such a fun adventure, and I was right. I mean, I had an amazing time, met some great people, and hopefully we'll keep in touch with most of them after the game.
This is a really fun community. So I'm hoping that once everything ends, you'll see that this is a community that really welcomes everybody and we're a really good group of friends. And I think you're going to be such a great compliment to that. But speaking of, so like legit Boston Rob and legit Tyson are essentially running this whole expedition and they are watching your tapes live and handpicking the team. So what was that like to hear Boston Rob say your name for you to be picked by Boston Rob?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, Boston Rob and Tyson are two of the best players, my favorite players. I absolutely love watching them and to see them like interact with each other on the stream and saying, "Oh, I want this person for my team. Oh, I pick Molly." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." How could you feel bad after that? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was fantastic. I felt so happy.
So that night obviously was so exciting. And so you're actually getting to see everybody's tapes. You're watching while these two icons are choosing their parties. What were your first thoughts on the party as a whole? Like, did you have anybody that,
Um,
like, I need to, like, I'm vibing with that person? Like, what were you thinking overall?
yeah, I think that overall, I really did think that our party was an amazing group as a whole. Team Rob, I vibed with pretty much everyone there, especially Sam and Owie. Um, I really got along with everyone there, but those two definitely, I might be rooting for them a little bit extra. Um, maybe. But yeah, I loved all of my teammates. We had a great time, like just chatting every night. Like even after we had to do some sad things, we did have a lot of good times together. And I'm grateful that Rob put us all together because I think as a group we really got along.
So after your party's chosen, essentially from about like 10 p.m. till midnight, you have 2 hours to really video with everybody, get to know everybody. What
Mhm.
was your strategy going into that first night? Did you have a strategy?
Um, my strategy was really just to listen and to get as much information as I could and pay attention because I do have a pretty good memory and I do have skills when it comes to remembering little things about people. I remember like Brandon's kids' names. I remember Owie's dog's name. I remember Owie got married on October 3rd because that's Mean Girls Day. um, but no, I remember little things about people, and I think that would have if I had made it a little farther, that would have strongly helped my social game because I really did build genuine bonds with these people, and I'm good at building genuine bonds with people in general. So yeah, my strategy was just to listen, gain information, reveal enough about myself, but not too much that it would reveal maybe what my strategy was to them. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to build relationships
For sure.
that night.
So, talking to, well, and we'll get into the challenges and the different crossroads, but talking to the first three that were voted out, it seemed like on that first night, you all were bonding, everyone was having a good time. And we have the scenario where Trey left fairly early into the call, and then Teresa followed suit very early in the call. And it seems like that kind of sealed their fate. If you lost, is that kind of the vibe that you were getting as well? Was it a pretty easy seven of us are united and those are the first two to go?
Unfortunately for them, yes, that was kind of how we were all thinking. It was not easy. They were easy strategic votes, but they weren't easy emotional votes, at least not for me, because I really liked them as people. I loved talking to them. Trey especially, we bonded a lot over theater. He's such a sweet guy. Yeah, I love theater. But yeah, emotionally, it was so hard to vote them out. Like, they're everyone was great people. Like, it's not like you had someone annoying or rude that you wanted to vote out. Like, everyone was nice.
For
So,
sure. And so before you go into the first challenge that we'll get to, besides those two that were kind of on the outs, were you feeling like you were in an alliance with anybody, any smaller group in that seven, or was it a pretty cohesive seven, would you say?
um, oh my gosh, sorry. Um, I feel like so Sam and I think were the closest. Like he was probably my closest ally. He told me he wouldn't write my name down. I told him I wouldn't write his name down. But I mean, Owie and Brandon had also mentioned that to me at some point. So I feel, but looking back, I don't think that was technically like an alliance or anything official. They were just looking out for me. But I trusted Sam 100%. Um, but yeah, I think there were other stronger alliances and pairs that maybe didn't involve me because I knew I was on the bottom.
Yeah.
Um, so unfortunately for me, but yeah, I think there definitely are some alliances that people need to look out for.
For sure. So going into the first challenge, first impressions, I love this challenge for the fact that for anyone watching, essentially as a party, you all voted for who you thought was the leader of your tribe. And then that leader chose four of you to compete in mental challenges and four of you to compete in physical challenges. Were you one of those that
Mhm.
voted for Brandon as the leader?
I was, yes.
Sure. So it was pretty unanimous. I mean, I felt like most of the party voted for Brandon. And what
Mhm.
was the reason for that? Was it just super clear, like he is the leader? Was that a little off-putting? Were you trying to put a target on him? Like, was there any? What was your vibe there?
Um, I honestly thought it would be pretty unanimous because he did come out as like kind of like a leader type figure. He was like when we were all chatting as a party, he was like the one kind of leading the discussion, like trying to get to know everyone, like, oh hey Molly, like where are you from? What do you do? Like Jess, where are you from? What do you like? He was definitely like trying to coordinate like who was saying things when, like, and not in like a bad way at all, like just like kind of guiding the discussion and bringing up interesting questions.
Yeah.
So he kind of seemed like our leader.
Yes. So you were chosen by Brandon to be part of the more of a mental competition, the literary round, versus Andrea. So before you even start answering questions, are you like, he chose correctly? Or are you like, I don't know anything about literature? Like, what are you feeling?
I was thrilled. I was so happy. I read a lot. I have a great memory, and I knew that I would do well. I read Catcher in the Rye in high school and couldn't really tell you a whole lot about what the plot was, but I remember like the character names. I remember the title, like the author, like, and I mean, who doesn't know Romeo and Juliet? But
Well,
it
and,
was I.
and he
I
chose
was so happy.
but
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was thrilled, and I had mentioned, like, at the last minute when we were chatting as a party, oh, I love Harry Potter. I've read the Harry Potter series, like, 7 times. So maybe that tipped him off to put me in literature.
no, so he obviously chose right. You won that challenge. You know, unfortunately, your party as a whole did not win. I know that Bobby was sort of plagued by some Wi-Fi issues, which may have come up. So, you know, this is one of those unique situations where a lot happened this one day. You know, we're live on Twitch, which is like new platform for all of us. You play this game, you lose. You essentially have like 20 minutes to kind of figure out who you all are voting out. It already feels like a seven is united. So how do you all, who decides between, is it Teresa or is it Trey? Because obviously Teresa goes home first, but like,
Right.
who was talking?
Um, so initially it was, some of us in the shelter, but the group that was there actually included Teresa and not Bobby. So we, as that group, were saying, "Oh, I think we're gonna do Bobby tonight. Like, we'll just vote for Bobby." But we knew that that wasn't gonna happen. We knew it was probably gonna be Teresa or Trey. we just had to say something because we didn't want to be like, oh yeah, Teresa, it's going to be either you or Trey. So, and then at one point I went to the well, I think with maybe Oe and Brandon, and then we were saying, so we're not really voting Bobby, right? And Brandon was like, yeah, no, it's Teresa. We're going to do Teresa tonight. So
So
yeah, that is
Brandon's the
how that
first one
came.
to kind of bring up her name specifically, you think?
To me, at least.
To you.
To
Okay.
me, at least. I could have been not a part of other conversations where maybe Jess was the one that said Teresa, or maybe it was Jake, someone else. But I heard it from Brandon.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, it feels like a fairly easy-ish vote. Teresa goes home essentially unanimously. So then going into our second challenge, which is cans versus planks, another fun challenge. You don't know what you're choosing essentially. You pick numbers, it's going to be random. You are now on the planking side of things, going against Rachel on the other tribe. How are you feeling? Are we a planker in real life? Like,
We are not a planker. I can't say the word that went through my mind. It is not a good word. It starts with F. Yeah, no, I was not happy. I could maybe have done like a regular plank, but side planks are much harder.
yeah.
At least in my experience. And holding a can above my head too, that was an extra special treat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't thrilled.
No, I mean, anybody who's watching this live right now, like you have to understand that even when I'm watching this, I was like, oh, planks. Like I can't do a plank to save my life. But then the fact that it was a side plank with the can over your head, I was like, this is nuts. So this isn't your thing. Like I think you went out pretty fast, right? It was like
Oh yeah,
pretty fast. Okay.
it was like maybe 15 seconds, if that.
So again, I think that it's luck of the draw in a certain way. And so again, Team Rob is going back to Crossroads. At this point, you have more time. But what I want to talk about is the fact that clearly you all go back to camp. And I think it's pretty obvious-ish, but I want to talk me through, you notice that there's a clue. And obviously we know that eventually you're the one that finds the compass. For those at home watching, that's our version of sort of an immunity idol. Tell me everything.
So we noticed that the lean-to that usually has the two people in it turned to lean clue, and we were like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what that's about. And so the first two people in there were Owie and Sam, and they came back and were saying like, yeah, like I don't know what I saw. Like they told me I had to leave in like 40 seconds, and so I was like, that's specific. And then I think it was Brandon and maybe Jake, one after the other, that ended up in there. And then eventually I got in there and I see Clinks holding up a paper that says DM Andy for a clue. And I was like, okay. So I did that. I DM'd Andy for the clue, and he was like, our two leaders have battled it back into the game together. Like find a find a video of this or find something of this, and in the comments section you'll find me like with a clue. And I was like, oh, all right. So I YouTubed the Edge Battle Back Winners at War, and clicked on the first video, saw, sorted the comments from most recent at the top, saw Andy's comment, screenshotted it, and sent it to him.
Like literally the first video you found?
Well, I think it was the first video because like it was the first one that came up, the Winners at War first battle back where Rob and Tyson both competed.
That's awesome. Like really?
Yeah, I was like,
Oh,
well, this is lucky.
yeah.
I
Okay.
just checked Instagram first, but nothing there.
Okay, so you screenshot it and you send it to Andy, and
Yes.
how fast do you hear back, and what does he say?
I heard back within like I think like a minute or two. It was like, congrats, you found a compass. Explained that it blocks all votes against you like an immunity idol. And I was like, all right, dope. I have a compass. Don't know what to do with that, but cool.
I like dope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, lit. Let's go. I was excited, yeah, and then it all like that
Well,
night it was fine for me to
yeah, I was
have it,
gonna
but
say
we'll
we
get
can
into
get
it.
into that. So like, but in terms of first night, you get this compass. First of all, I'm obsessed with the fact that you were like fifth or sixth person to actually get the clue and still find it first. It's like mad props to you, because having played a version of this game, These things are hard to find. And clearly, it took people time to find this. So you get this compass, and you know you're heading to the crossroads. I'm assuming you all kind of know it's going to be Trey. Are you thinking, I'm going to keep this to myself for the whole game? Are you thinking I need to let somebody know immediately? Like, what are your initial thoughts?
Well, my initial thoughts is I'm not telling anyone. Um, I won't tell anyone. And I just played. Everyone was like, "Oh, who do you think has the advantage?" I think it might be. Oh wait. Oh, I think it's Sam. And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, they were the first ones there. It's probably them." Just like in my head, I'm like, "Haha, I have it." But yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna tell anybody. And if I told anyone, I would tell Sam, but I wouldn't tell him until the next day.
Okay. So again, it feels like it was pretty set in stone it's going to be Trey. Like, did you feel like you were scrambling? Were you worried at all that it was you, or was it pretty
Um,
much like we know it's going to be Trey?
I wasn't worried because I knew that Trey was voting for Bobby, and I knew that Brandon was voting for Bobby,
Yeah.
just in case, because they all thought, hey, maybe Trey has the thing. So
Yeah.
I had a pretty good feeling that I was fine.
Okay. So great. So you survive another crossroads, and then we go into our third day, which is Mind the Gap, which is Expedition's version of Wheel of Fortune. Key phrases, all explorer related. RST, LME are filled in, but you have to fill in the blanks. So you are against Tom on the other party, and this is another challenge that you don't do super well with against him, right? I think he won both.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
won them both.
and you were sort of chosen to go first. Did you feel good going first, or were you kind of
I said that I was fine. I said I'll go first if no one else wants to go first. I did feel more confident going into it than some of the other challenges, but then I was like, "Oh, this was a mistake."
well, I mean, that's this game. Is like you never know what to expect. I think for part of me being a mod is so fun because I'm watching you all, which is what I did, sort of guess what these games are going to be, and
Yeah.
rightfully so. You're like, it's going to be Survivor related. It's going to be key phrases, and I think you're a huge mega fan, and everyone thought it made sense for you to go, but then lo and behold, it's random trivia about random explorers of random countries,
I
and
don't know freaking anything about explorers and
yeah, so
exploration sites.
exactly. So watching this is a pretty tight match, and I think the thing that sticks out for most people, and love him, and I gave him a little just fun little jab earlier today, but was Bobby because he had the answer correct. He just didn't have it spelled correctly. Not the first time,
Yeah.
not the second time, and then that ends up being in a way just the easy thing to point to be like, that's the one we lost to make your party lose again. So were you feeling on the outs, or were you sort of feeling like Bobby's on the outs? Obviously, I know he calls a whole, trot or party meeting, but like, what's your initial reaction before he sort of approached everybody?
I was nervous for sure, and I was also nervous for Bobby. I knew that it was probably one of us on the bottom. Like at some point, I think everyone else was talking in other places, and it was just Bobby and I in the shelter. And either the channel was like I think it was two people in the lean-to, and then however many people were left available at the well, and everything else was full. And Bobby and I were like, "Well, uh-oh." And we were like, "It's gonna be one of us." And I was like, "Bobby, you can vote for me, like, it's probably me or you." And he's like, "Yeah, you can vote for me too." And he's like, "I actually also have to like announce something to some of the people, so I'm gonna wait for all of them to get back here." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then he had Sam randomly popped in, and so he told Sam and I prior to telling everyone the situation. So we had kind of a little heads up before everyone else.
And so is this when, because I know that you actually, lo and behold, besides what you just told me, I feel like you shared with a few that you had the compass, correct? So when did that come out?
When did that come out? I think it was Bobby had taken a break. Bobby went to like do some family things briefly. Um but that was after he told us like I want you guys to vote me out, like I'll be okay with it. Like I have a situation with family and whatnot. And so after that, Bobby took a break off from being on Discord, and so it was the rest of us talking. And at one point, it was me and Sam alone, and I was like, "Sam, I have it," because he was like, "God, I just wish I knew where it was. I wish I knew who had it." And I was like, "I have it."
And why? And what was your like? What's your strategy? Like, what were you? Why then fill him in? Were you worried he'd tell others? Like, what was your thinking?
Actually, you know what? I think Bobby actually might have been there too when I told Sam, because I wanted to tell Bobby too.
Yeah.
Um, I think so. I think it was the three of us. But I wanted to tell at least Sam because he was my number one. Um, and I trusted him. And maybe I shouldn't have trusted him, but he didn't tell anyone else about the compass because when I told the rest of them, he they were all shocked. So I trusted Sam and I trusted Bobby because we both knew we had been on the bottom regardless of what he wanted us to do, wanted us voting him out or not. So
So you tell this, sort of smaller group first, and then why did you make the decision to tell the rest of the party?
I don't know if I feel like it was kind of pressure. We were all together, minus Bobby, who already knew that I had it, but because he was taking a break from being online. And then Brandon was like, "All right, we know one of us has it. Like, who has it? We know it's not Bobby. He was never in the lean clue. Which one of us has it?" And like there was just a long pause, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? Like, it doesn't like lying to them about it. Like, clearly, it's not something that's going to reflect positively on me. Like, if it gets out from someone else, if it gets out somehow." So I was just like, "I have it, you guys," and everyone was like shocked. They thought I was on the bottom of everyone's list of who had it. Like no one suspected it. And I was like, I felt a little pressured into telling everyone that I had it, but that's all right. And was that the night I transferred it to? I think it was.
I feel like it may have been the next night.
I don't even know. It
Can't
went
remember.
so
I know
fast.
yesterday. It's like kind of like these all start going together. But do you stick by that decision? Do you feel like you wish you kept it a secret? How do you feel?
Um, no, I'm glad I told them all about it because um it clearly my party clearly wanted to use it as a team idol. And so if I had kept it to myself, it would have shown like disloyalty or selfishness from the team.
Okay.
And that's not exactly how I like to play these games. Like I've played a lot of these games. So and that's not how I like to play. I'm a team player.
Yeah.
I'm loyal. I'm honest.
Okay. So, Bobby unfortunately is the one to go.
Mhm.
I think that I think he knew it was coming. He obviously asked everyone to sort of vote for him out. So, Team Rob at this point, you've lost three people. You have a team idol or a team compass. God, I'm sorry. I'm trying to use these terms. How are you? I'm also just curious if there's a way. I don't know if you know how to answer this, but like, because you keep saying that you feel like you were on the bottom. So like, how do you think that happened? Because obviously there is a group and you were on the bottom, but like, how did that come about? Because you're all given the same amount of time. Like, how do you feel like that happened?
I feel like maybe I wasn't strategic enough, and when I switched into other rooms to chat with other people, I think a lot more people got more one-on-ones in like the lean to or more small group discussions than I took. I didn't take full advantage of those maybe. Um, and I know that there are very strong bonds. Like I don't know if I'm allowed to say them right now here, but there are strong
And because they're
alliance
all
bonds.
being shown like later at some point.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. But Brandon and Jess are like this. Like as far as I can see. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure I'm right. So those two are very, very, very close. And I think Oe is close with them as well. But the strong pair is Jess and Brandon.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So we've lost three challenges, and now we're playing. The
so
ping
sad.
pong relay, which is such a fun game. Like it's torture to play, but it's so
Yeah.
fun. And it's pretty close. This is another one that is a fairly close game. For those at home that are unfamiliar, you're essentially throwing a ping pong ball into a cup, but it's a relay style. So like the whole party is going at the same time, and one has to wait until the other lands it. So you are third on the list of people going on your party. And again, this just feels like Team Tyson was just always in the lead, and Team Rob was just always like a few people behind. Like, describe for the fans out there just the pressure, because people don't understand that this is a pressure cooker situation. All eyes are on you when it's your turn. Like, just how are you feeling?
Very stressed, very scared, trying to tune out as much as everything I can. Um, but it's crazy how real it feels to like the real show. Like the pressure is insane. Like it's live, it's going. Like you need to run as fast as you can to get that ping pong ball that runs halfway across the room. Like, and I tried my best to like set up a barrier so it wouldn't really happen, but like there you can only do so much. It ended up under my couch, of course, but you know, I gave it all I got. I honestly think I did much better than I thought I would. I didn't see myself getting this ping pong ball in the cup once. All of the amount of time I was practicing, I didn't get it in the cup once. So it's a freaking miracle that I did.
And you did well. I
Yeah,
mean, honestly, you only, the other team beat
relatively.
you, but there were only three other people to go next. So it's, it was a fairly close-ish race. So, okay, so Team Rob is going back to Crossroads for the fourth time. I do
Here
feel
we
like
go.
the night before, the day before, or sometime, what was your decision for, because you did give up your compass and you gave it to
Mhm.
Jake, and I'm dying to hear the story because there was so much drama in your party about this. So,
There
A,
was.
why did you give it up? B, why Jake? And then we'll start there.
Oh man. So I knew for sure I wanted to give it up. I didn't want that freaking thing in my possession anymore. It was just a huge like target. Like I don't know. So I was talking briefly with Brandon, Owie, and Jake in a room. Um, and we were just talking about the compass. And Brandon said, like, oh man, like I wish like we knew about it before. And I was like, I know you guys, like, I'm sorry. The reason I didn't tell anyone before was because I knew that the Trey vote was straightforward. And I knew that the Bobby vote was pretty straightforward. Um, I'm sorry, guys. Like I should have said something. Um, which I really shouldn't have had to say anything, but that's okay. I know. I was like bullied into it, but like not bull that's a strong word, pressured.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Um, and so he was like saying like it would be just such an act of loyalty if I gave it to someone. And looking back, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you, Molly? Like, what? But it does make sense in theory. Like, I he wasn't even asking for it for himself. I think he was strongly hinting that I should give it to Owie. And
Yeah, strongly hinting.
yeah, and I was like, I don't know. I couldn't pick up on if Owie actually really wanted it because I would have given it to Owie and I would have been fine with that. Like, she wasn't pressuring me. She wasn't saying like you should definitely give it up, but she was also like pretty much the whole team was saying I should give it up basically. And I was like, and like they were, I guess, like I didn't want it. Like I didn't want the target, and I didn't want like everyone knowing I had it. Like that's just scary.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
so I gave it to Jake,
yeah.
but yeah. I was gonna give it to Oe, but I thought she seemed uncomfortable having it. I thought she didn't want the target or the whatever, but clearly that was wrong. Like I definitely should have given it to Oe. Hell, I should have given it to like Sam or Jess,
I don't,
who weren't even there.
I don't know. I don't think I'm like allowed to have opinions on this, but no, I mean, I think when you start watching things back and you start to see where alliances were drawn, I think that you will see they were hinting at you to give it to certain people because it benefited certain people. So I think that
Yeah.
actually what you ended up doing upset them because it wasn't in their plans. that make sense?
Yeah, which I mean, hey, all right, that's cool. Like,
Exactly. I
you
mean,
stir up the pot.
oh, that pot was stirring.
But
We were all
yeah,
over.
oh, that pot was bubbling. I've seen some crazy um tribal crossroad things and other games, and that was crazy. But
Well,
yeah, when I so
let's get.
everyone had left the room, and like we were talking about at the last crossroads, it was just me and Jake. And I was like, gosh, I don't know what to do with this. Like, always seemed like she might be uncomfortable having it. I was like talking to myself kind of, and he was like, well, I'd be comfortable. Like, I'll take it. And I was like, yeah, you want it? And he was like, yeah, I want it. And I was like, okay. And I just panicked.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
No, so Jake now has the compass, and obviously, like we said, you all lost the ping pong relay. We'll get to Boston Rob in a second because that had to have been like a moment. Like,
Yeah, it was fantastic.
um, so you're going into this crossroads. What are you hearing? Like, what do you? Because it felt like you knew it was you, and I'm curious if that's the case. Like, once it's because it was a tied situation for everyone that's watching at home, it ended up being, what was it, 3 versus 3. So 3 votes on you, three votes on Jake. Revote, and then 3 votes on you, 3 votes on Jake. So it's a pretty divided party at this time. Were you feeling like I should fight more? Were you feeling like I should throw Jake under the bus? Were you like, just what were you feeling at that moment?
Um, I knew that it was probably me because I heard the words directly out of Jake's mouth that I was on the bottom and they were gonna vote me out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's what gave it away a little bit. I had suspicions, but that really kind of was the last nail in the coffin that I
Yeah,
knew it was probably gonna be me. But
you're being tied
and
though.
then
But like, you still have a chance for two
yeah,
votes of this. So like, what were you thinking then? Like, should you have been fighting more? Should you have been like standing up for yourself? Like, what were you thinking?
hindsight, I probably should have fought a little harder and I probably should have stood up for myself a little more, but I didn't want to, like, as much as I regretted giving the compass to Jake and as much as I don't like some of the things he said, it's not me to throw someone under the bus, to bad talk someone. Like, no matter what they've said, like, I've always, like, I live my life like that. I'm not mean to people. I don't fight like that for a game. Like, I know we're playing for money and I know it was a very big deal, but I have integrity. Like, I didn't want to, like, spew, like, really angry words. So,
Molly, I think that's so admirable. Honestly, I mean, I feel
thanks.
like this game really highlights the good in people, also highlights some of the bad in people. But you know, I love that you're standing strong and saying like, this is who I am, and I'm not going to change it for a game. I'm not going to change it for $1,000. And I think that's great. I mean, I just want you to know that you were really good. Like, you found a compass, you kicked butt on the literary challenge. Like, you were a really valuable player in that team. So I just want you to know that, because I felt like in that final crossroads, you were a little like, it's okay if it's me, I'm not the best. And I'm like, no, no, you're really good. Like, you played really
Yeah.
well. So I just want you to, like, head up, because you were a badass. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but like, you were a badass, and you should know that about
Thank you.
yourself.
I
That's
appreciate it.
what so besides that, though, obviously we know that you leave, but besides that, like, you get a live call from Boston Rob, and I want to just know all about that. Like, how you feeling? Because that was a shock to me. I was like, wait, Boston Rob is on this call? Like, okay, I'm joining. So, like, how are you all feeling?
It was amazing. He had so many, like, well, first of all, he is so funny. Like, he's such a funny, like, happy guy. Like, he's like the guy you want to, like, go hang out and have a beer with. Like, he's so cool. Um, but yeah, it was just so nice for him to join us and to give us, like, a little pep talk. Just talk to us about, like, hey, like, you'll win. After this, you're gonna start kicking butt. Like, it'll work. Like, and he gives us this advice about lying. Like, I'm like, that's so cool, getting, like, lying advice from
I wrote
one
that
of the
down.
Survivor greats,
I wrote it down.
right?
You ask them a question you already know the answer to. And I was like, I'm writing this down for future
So
reference.
good.
Yeah.
So good. Right? Yeah, no, he was incredible. Such a great human, such a great player. Like I look up to him as a player so much. Like, I mean, I've watched every season of Survivor so many times. I think he's definitely one of the best that's ever played,
Yeah.
hands down.
Okay, so unfortunately you're out of the game. So you obviously didn't really get much of a chance to get to know anybody on the other party, but who right now do you feel like is playing the best game? And who are you rooting for? And it obviously could be same person or different people.
Playing the best game. So I'm not sure about the other team, obviously, but I think as far as my team goes, I think Owi's playing the best game. Um, she's under the radar enough, but also clearly making moves enough to initiate conversations that she needs to initiate. Um, she's very, very wise. I think she's playing the best game in my eyes.
Nice. And is that who
I'm
you're rooting
rooting
for, or are
for.
you rooting for anybody else?
I'm I gotta root for Sam. He was my number one. Sam and I were buddies. I'm rooting for Sam, but I'm also strongly rooting for Owie because she's just I wish I had a little bit more of Owie in me, like a little more sneaky. But yeah, she's an amazing player. And just a strong female player. I'm all about girl power. So she's gonna kick ass. I have a feeling she's gonna really succeed. But yeah, I'm rooting for Sam and Owie.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Molly, honestly, you're just as strong as a woman. Like the fact that you found this compass, you were fifth or sixth to get the clue, you found it, you kicked butt in the first challenge. Like you did an amazing job. And I want you to feel good about yourself because you really were incredible to watch. You had a lot of fans that were rooting for you.
Aw.
So do you have any final thoughts or final, just anything you want to say before we sort of say bye?
I don't think so. I'm happy with how I played. I had a great experience. I'll come back if you ever have a returning season.
Oh, this just in.
I'm willing to return. Twist my arm. No, yeah. Um, absolutely had a great time. Maybe a couple regrets, but honestly, hindsight, no regrets really. It was a fun game. It was amazing. Had a great time.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to welcoming you to what we call the fun side. Everyone, this is a great community. We all are all friendly. We all play games. We all love each other. So I'm looking forward to getting to know you more outside this game.
Yay.
For all of our fans watching, we had a big tribe swap. So I'm excited to see what happens. I'm wondering who I'm going to be talking to next. But thank you, everyone at home, for watching us and supporting us. Molly, incredible gameplay.
Thank
One of
you.
the first people to find a compass in Expedition Online, and you can always say that now. Like you're one of the first people to find it. So we are so happy to watch you. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us tonight. And everybody at home, we still have a lot of game to watch. So we will see you next time. Have a great one.
Thank you.